What is up? Coming to you live from the Cat House in Montebello, California. It's Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast, the Monday edition, the February 24th edition, we're really late if you're watching this live edition. Sorry. Getting home from work, running around, trying to get everything ready. Life just gets in the way. All the time. I don't know what to tell you other than to check out our brand new show that's on YouTube. We're going to try to do that show 3 to 4 times a week. It's a Dre's Retro Game Minute. I was doing it sporadically before, but now I'm going to try to dedicate a little bit of time to film these short little vignettes, these short little 2 to 3 minute. I know it's called Retro Game Minute, but it's going to be a couple minutes where I'm going to just now go through my entire game collection and tell little anecdotes about all my games in short, bite-sized little things, because that's what apparently people want. Hey, Judy Lynn is watching live. What's up, Judy Lynn? Thank you for checking in live on the show. So yeah, this is our normal podcast. We're going to go 45 minutes an hour, depending on how I'm feeling. I've been primarily flying solo now for the foreseeable future. I'm still gonna try. I'm gonna try to bring in some guest co-hosts here and there, and then maybe when my wife is feeling up to it, she can rejoin me. But of course, someone has to take care of the tiger. Someone has to take care of our son. So I'm hoping my wife can rejoin at various points in time. But because these solo flights, these are a challenge nonetheless. It's hard for me to podcast solo. I always like to bounce stuff off of people. If we have our live audience here, it makes it a little bit easier for me. But here we go, as usual, Monday night. So today was the Kobe Bryant Memorial. Let's just lead off with that. I didn't really get a chance to watch it because it started late and I had to get to work. So I had to catch highlights later. I had to sneak them in while I was at work, and then the one I really took the time to listen to as I was wandering around the warehouse today was Michael Jordan's speech that he had in regards to Kobe, and it was kind of I was incredibly surprised because Michael Jordan has always been notoriously very reserved. He kind of holds back his emotions. He's never been one to show how he feels. I mean, other than on the basketball court when he was all constantly talking shit to everybody. But that speech that Michael Jordan gave, holy crap, that was really good. I was ready to cry listening to some of the stuff he was saying, and looking at Kobe as that little brother and telling all those great anecdotes. And then even the self-referential joke where he knew this was just going to cause more crying Jordan memes. Like, he's well aware that he clearly, even though he's older, he might be a generation removed from this stuff. He is clearly aware. I'm sure someone on his brand team or his marketing team, he's well aware that he is a meme, and he just created a bunch. I'd like to think he created a bunch of positive memes. Just from the content of that speech, it was just I was very moved by a lot of the stuff that he said. It was I couldn't believe that the old MJ had that in him, and he was willing to share how Kobe from Jump Street, even 18-year-old Kobe was reaching out to him, trying in the first game they played against each other, Kobe was hitting him up for tips about his jump shot, but. Yeah, I think the most poignant point that he made was that Kobe wasn't always just trying to be a better player. He was always just trying to be a better person, and not all their conversations were specifically about basketball. And it was just such a touching and emotional speech that I think under normal circumstances we wouldn't have gotten that revelation. If this tragedy hadn't happened, we wouldn't have found that out till Kobe was in the Hall of Fame or far later. Or maybe we would have found out it from the Kobe side if MJ had passed before Kobe did. It was such an insight. Yeah, exactly right there. Daniel Wong here on Facebook Live. It's something we never see from Michael Jordan. He's always just been this brand. He's the jump man. He's Jordan. He's he's that other icon of basketball. and just the vulnerability. I just seeing that invincible Michael Jordan just be vulnerable. He was crying already walking up to the podium, and that was crazy. It was amazing. It was all it was a whole lot of emotions all at once. Just that's the one speech where I kept seeing people were retweeting and talking about that speech in particular. Obviously, I couldn't bring myself to to watch Vanessa's speech. I read some pieces of it, and it was already moving me. A lot of stuff that she was saying, I just reading some of the quotes just in text form were just heartbreaking. Not getting to see her little girl get married, not getting to see Kobe and Gianna dance at the wedding, and like all this, seeing her little girl grow up, seeing all that stuff. It was just like I can't even. I have to steel myself at some point and watch Vanessa's speech. But damn, it was just everything. And then another short highlight I saw on Twitter, which I thought was very appropriate from Shaq, from Shaquille O'Neal. I didn't see his entire speech, but I saw the piece that's gonna probably be posted on highlights from here on till forever. Where he was talking about Kobe, you need to pass the ball. There's no I in team. He's like, I know, but there's a me in there, motherfucker. and leave it to Shaq to freaking at a memorial to find a way to get everyone to laugh. Just that type of that type of funny anecdote where that's like the epitome of Shaq and Kobe's relationship, which is like this adversarial relationship between the two of them. That was just the perfect encapsulation of who they were. Oh man, see right there, Daniel Wong on Facebook Live here. Vanessa's speech. I was down the inside before that speech. Before that speech. I have to find my wife was posting stuff on Instagram on how like 6 minutes in and she was already bawling. Just I caught a little piece of Beyonce performing. I guess she performed Kobe's favorite song, and then I believe she performed Hail after that. I guess I need to get on YouTube and find more. I don't know who else was allowed, who else had the opportunity to speak, but just seeing on my phone I get all those news updates. I got an iPhone, so I get all the Apple news. So it was just like after Jordan's speech, it was like bloop 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 bloop. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to watch that one apparently because it was such a shocking and jarring thing to the sports world to see emotional Michael Jordan, other than the crying meme that has been used ad nauseum for the last forever. So the news this morning it was very great. Apparently I had a couple of friends who actually managed to get their hands on tickets. My buddy from Disney, Dustin Sandoval, he was putting out photos, I guess, after the fact or during. He was there in the program, and he was very thankful. He's a big Laker fan too. He was very thankful that he was able to go there and experience that service. And I think I saw a few other people on my Facebook timeline were spotted there. I think they saw, apparently one couple I know, that they saw themselves on the news. Or someone saw them in the news and sent them a photo. Like, hey, look, they caught them standing in line. Cause, it seemed to be a giant logistical nightmare. It was supposed to start at 10, but it looks like it got delayed at least an hour, is what it seems like. I thought I was going to catch a little bit before I left the house and go to work, but I kept seeing there's just lines and lines of people outside. I saw on the news, I'm like, nope, that ain't starting anytime soon. There's like half the crowd was still outside because of all these security measures that the LAPD was taking to make sure, hey, you can only be here if you have a ticket. It seemed pretty intense. I think I saw on the news the other day, they were even threatening, if you showed up without a ticket and you tried to get in there, they would arrest you. They were trying to be very strict and serious about, no, we only want the people who are supposed to be here. All the businesses were shut down for the morning, so all the restaurants, all in that LA Live vicinity. I don't know beyond that but it seemed like they were just trying to coordinate. I think AAG was just trying to make this as seamless as possible. And they still had a few hiccups. So that was a thing this morning. And I kept anticipating. I was like, 'cause my wife and I, we watch the Channel 5 News, and they just kept talking about it all week long for the last week or so, ever since it got announced. So I was like, wow. I kept wondering what that was gonna be like. 'Cause I remember Michael Jackson's memorial. I remember that was a big to do as well. I don't remember if that was also at Staples Center, and I just remember it was also at a very large venue, and I remember the mass chaos of logistics that caused as well. So I imagine this was going to be somewhere along those lines, and it kind of was. So yeah, that was this morning. Beyond that, this past weekend, as always, I got to give you guys a dad update. So I think my poor wife and I, we probably had the worst night of sleep that we've had since the first night at the hospital. I think that was probably the last night we had really terrible sleep. We're trying to get our boy to sleep on his own without needing one of us. And boy, mistakes were made for us, I guess. Woo! That was 5 hours of either him crying or myself or my wife trying to console the little dude. Like we put him in the sleeper. He's supposed to sleep in. I pick him and he'd be crying. Like sometimes it'd be kind of the whiny crying, or other times it'd be like, I'm gonna scream, ah! Or I'd pick him up. And I'd hold him, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm cool now." And he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with his beautiful eyes were wide open. He's looking at me like, "Hey, Dad, yes, I don't want to be in there. Hold me." Like, no. Like, why aren't you sleepy? It's 2 a.m. Oh, I'm bright-eyed, Daddy. You're holding me. Yay! This is what I wanted. Like, boy. Like, I imagine like years from now, if I were like, so hey, go to YouTube. See what your daddy had to say on February 24th when you're like 6.5 weeks old. Young man. It's like it's the wonder of technology. I can leave these wonderful little notes for my young man. It's like, boy, you kept us up for 5 hours. We tried to sleep. We didn't go to bed till 4 a.m. until we freaking had to swaddle you and cuddle you, and then you're like, okay, now I'll go to sleep, Mama and Papa. And like both my poor wife and I, we're just like, we're holding each other. We're like, it'll get better. It'll get better. my lovely wife, she's so strong. She's so tough. Oh no, we've had decent nights of sleep. We've been doing okay. Though we have. Well, you know what? I can only speak for myself. My poor wife, she has to wake up every few hours to feed this insatiable young man. He may have gotten all my wife's good looks, but apparently he has gotten my stomach. He is he is a voracious eater, and all he just wants to do is eat and sleep, and then keep us up at night when it fancies him. I got okay sleep last night because my wife tried to make sure, because she doesn't want me to die on the way to work, just falling asleep in the car. And I was like, that's been kind of like the goal, like, oh, keep Daddy alive. I'd like to be alive for my family. that sleep again, yeah. Sleep has been a challenge, and we're trying to get this little boy to cooperate with us. So we can, but we're just it's a challenge. I'm sure all of those of you who are already parents, like a Jai, like a Daniel, like a Ryan Tanaka, all you guys who are already dads, you already know the score. Like it'll be a while before we get back. Before my poor wife can get a normal night of sleep, it's gonna be a little while. I want to try to figure out a way, like maybe me and the boy can just go and like somewhere else and let her sleep for a day. Or something. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a solution to help my poor wife. Besides, like, besides her sleeping during the day, while I sleep at night. I'd like my poor strong wife to get a little bit more sleep than she is getting. Like in the morning, like this morning, it was like as soon as I got up, and our little boy, he's a morning person. He enjoys the mornings. So as soon as he woke up and I did that, I'm like, you know what? Let's go stay in the living room. while mommy sleeps for an extra hour by herself without having to worry about you. Dang it, Wong. My wife wasn't afraid of me dying from sleep deprivation. That's some cold shit. That's cold-blooded. So that's why I love my wife. Like today, I got home and I told my wife how much I love her and I appreciate her. I was just like, I had to tell. I was like today at work, I was just like, it was just dawning on me how much, man, my wife, she's good. She is too good for me. I outkicked my coverage. I'm hitting out of my league with my wonderful wife, and you know it's nice. It feels good. It feels good, you know, right in the heart. Oh man. Yeah, that's your daddy update for this week. So let me do a funny little anecdote. I get on here, I get on this podcast, and I slag GameStop frequently. I get on here and I trash them, and there's many times they get a well-deserved trashing because of who they are. I have served 3 tours of duty, or 3 life sentences, depending on your point of view. I've served 3 prison terms. I don't know, however you want to put it. I worked for GameStop in 2000 and 2001. I worked for GameStop from 2003 to 2005. And then most recently, I did a 3-month stint. It's like I got thrown into GameStop jail. I did a 3-month stint in 2016. and yeah, they've earned their reputation, well deservedly. They've earned their bad reputation for who they are. And I'm even toying around with doing another, like, much like my retro game minute. I want to do a show where it's like Dre spills GameStop tea, where I just start telling stories of all the nefarious things that I saw while I was working there, and then all the nefarious things I saw while I was a Nintendo rep, because I had to visit them every day for those 7 years as a Nintendo rep as well, and all the crazy wild stuff I'd hear about or see with my own 2 eyes. So I'm gonna figure that out, tell a 5-minute, because telling all these stories on these long form podcasts, I don't know how many people get to see these, but if I start doing the short, because that white boy Lancelot is getting friggin' millions of views for calling them out. I'm like, all right, I can, you know what? I got a lot of experience too. I can get on the YouTube and tell stories about the terrible things my district manager used to make me do back in 2003, 2005, or even the fun little story, the very racist story, the last tour of duty where I had my store manager told me how I was too white for the area I was in. that I'm sure that'll make for a great short anecdote. I gotta do Dre spills the GameStop tea. I gotta workshop that. I gotta do some short videos like that throughout the week. But getting to the point. So this past week, my old roommate, previous podcast guest, old Trent Trail. It was his birthday. It was Trent Trail week last week, for those of you who know Mr. Trent Trail. And so I wanted to get him a gift. So I was tracking down this like a collection of the Kingdom Hearts games, because he already had Kingdom Hearts 3, but he had never played the previous ones. And then unfortunately I had moved out by the time I couldn't lend him the other ones to play, the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, whatever. If you have any experience with Kingdom Hearts, you know it's a slog, it's a mess, it's a crazy story. Beautiful music, amazing visuals, fun stuff, all the Disney / Final Fantasy crossover that you can muster. But my old roommate, he had played part 3, but he never played the previous one. So I was like, you know what? Let me go track down, because I guess recently, last year, or maybe even the year before, they had put Kingdom Hearts, the story so far. They took all the stuff prior to Kingdom Hearts 3 and put it all in 1 or 2 neat discs on the PS4. And I was like, oh, let me go track this down. And I tried to track it down through work. I work at a video game distributor. This should be no problem. No, we don't have it. And then I found out, no, we can't get it. Because as I learned, I delved even further today. Because I knew we didn't have it in stock. And then I wasn't sure if we can get it through one of our friends. But I learned today, I was like, oh yeah, I told my boss I had to go out and find this. He's like, oh yeah, Square Enix, yeah, they don't like making money, apparently. they have a lot of questionable decision making within the distribution side of Square Enix. Like my boss, he's been trying to get his hands on copies of this Kingdom Hearts story so far, but they apparently they don't want to sell any. They're like, nope, no, thank you. We don't want to make money. And my boss went on to explain to me how several executives across the video game world they don't like physical games, which kind of tags on to last week's episode. It's just like, no, my boss wants to order. Hey, I'd like to order X amount of copies of these physical games so we can sell them here. And these companies are like, no, we have no interest in taking your money. I guess they want more digital money. They don't want to have to invest any money to get paid some money. They just want to put it digitally in the world and take money. But I am going on a tangent as usual. So I had to find a copy of the Kingdom Hearts game. So I was scouring there. At first, I went to Amazon because naturally, Amazon should have it. It's Amazon. No, the only thing they had on Amazon was an Australian version, which would work on a PS4. But I wasn't about to pay, it was like $40 for an Australian version of the game, which apparently the game is down to $20 right now throughout the rest of the internet, if you could find it. And I was like, what the crap? I'm not going to pay some dude selling me an Australian version of the game. Nah, just pass on that. And I saw, GameStop has it. I'm like, let me look around some more. Best Buy, nope, no longer has it. I could have ordered directly from the Square Enix. They apparently have copies in their Square Enix store online. But as my brother was informed, I was like, I wanted it now. I wanted to go see my roommate this past weekend, and I'd at least deliver it within the Trent Trail week, so to speak, as he celebrates his birthday all week long. And I was like, I want to get it now. So I saw, all right, I'm gonna have to go to GameStop. And so I see online, all right, several stores around here have it. But I was like, being the savvy GameStop veteran, I know, okay, let me call the stores to see if it's actually a sealed copy or, as they call it internally, the gut copy, because the way GameStop operates is they have to put the displays out there. So they take one, they cut it open, they take the disc out, put it in a drawer. Ideally, no one ever touches it, but as I'm sure Jai can say, employees, you're not supposed to check those out, but employees check those out. They take them home, they play them, they bring it back, however you want to do it. So if I have my druthers, I prefer to not ever buy a gut copy of a game, especially if I'm going to get one as a gift for my pal Trent. So I called the local GameStop store right here, Pico Rivera has one. I call him, hey, I see it online. I didn't want to just reserve it and then walk in there. My wife's like, you're just going to go waste time going from store to store. I'm like, wife, you are smart. I'm going to call them like a rational human being. I was ready to go out and start driving around, but no, call them, save some time. I am a dad now. Can't just be gallivanting around. Call up that Pico Rivera GameStop. I'm looking for Kingdom Hearts story so far. Online says you have it. Oh yeah, we got it right now. I'm like, all right, don't BS me, boy. Is it the gut one? I used to work for y'all. I know how y'all work. Hold on, let me check. He puts me on hold for like 2 minutes. He comes back. He's like, yeah, it's the last one. Oh, we can put it in a plastic little seal. I'm like, no, bro. I want a real factory sealed one. And I was like, can you check on the computer to see which of your stores has more than one? Because that's going to be my best bet. And he's like, all right. Oh, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, definitely. But he gets on his computer. And they look up. He says, all right, the closest store that has more than one is in Norwalk, which is a half-hour drive. I'm like, well, all right, cool. All right, look up the Norwalk phone number, give them a jingle. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this game, Kingdom Hearts story so far. I need a new one. It's a gift. I need it to be factory sealed. None of this BS of stuck in a sleeve with a sticker on it. I don't want no freaking, because apparently they don't do what we used to do back in the days. Get the shrink wrap and heat gun it. I guess that's something they took away from all the GameStops. I noticed that in my last tour of duty. And you got a sealed one. And then the GameStop in Norwalk, in the Norwalk Town Center, giant store. I remember from my years of Nintendo repping. Like, hold on, let me check. And they placed me on hold again. Like, just keep the phone on you. Just open the drawer. That's what I used to do. Hold on, let me open the drawer. Boop, drawer's open. He's like, yeah, I got a sealed one. What's the name for? I'm like, put it on hold for Andre. I'll be there in half an hour. And I go down there. And here, I'm like, I'm going to walk into a GameStop. Oh, man, I haven't walked into a GameStop in a very long time. Probably not since I got fired from the last one in 2016. And so, all right, I have to steel myself, or I have to be ready to say, no, I don't want to pre-order any games. No, I don't want it used. I need a new one. It's a gift. No, I'm not interested in putting a gameplay guarantee. No, I don't want any of your nonsense. No, I don't want your magazine. I don't want any of your Funko Pops. No, I have to I'm like getting mentally ready in the car. I'm like, all right, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick unless they're a dick first, and I'm gonna unleash fucking hell. I go inside, and it's crazy because this Norwalk store was kind of like one of their it was like a concept store. It's gigantic. It's way too big for a GameStop now, especially nowadays. It's all wide open space. There's just a few displays. I walk in there and then you just see an entire wall of freaking Funko Pops and other nonsense and BS merchandise because that's where all the profit is nowadays. Aside from them buying cell phones from you and selling them to China. That's how they make most of their money. That's like I kept reading and hearing about how like they're super aggressive about trying to get you to trading your phone because they want to give you $20 for your phone and sell it to China for 150. That's their current fight out of bankruptcy. But all right, I go in there. There's only like one person working. I'm like, well, typical GameStop. All right, it's a Saturday night. You only have one person, but then there's literally only one other person in the store. So I get in line behind the one person, the person's being helped, and another employee comes out, and she's like, sir, I can help you over here. I'm like, all right, here we go. Get ready for the bullshit, Trey. I walk up, all right, I called for a game, Kingdom Hearts. She's like, yep, got it right over here. I'm like, the sealed one, all right? Yep, that's right, sealed one. It's a gift. And she's like, okay, cool. Here's your game. Do you have the power-up reward? I'm like, yeah, I have an old one. It's expired. And I punch in my phone number just to get past that part. And she's like, yep, really expired. I'm like, yeah, expired years ago. She's like, all right, whatever, 20-something or other. I'm like, she's not asking me? And I put my card in, I press the buttons. I'm like, all right. She gives me the receipt. All right, thanks. Thank you for coming. I'm like, I'm sorry, am I in a parallel universe? I'm like, I didn't say this to her, but I'm just like, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm going to thank my good fortune and get the fuck out of there. And I was like, didn't ask me to renew or didn't try to make some impassioned plea to get me to re-up my power-up rewards. Didn't try to ask me, like, oh, aren't you going to pre-order the Kingdom Hearts All-in-One coming out next March? Or why don't you pre-order something else? It was like, didn't ask me about my cell phone. I was like, what is this? Okay, I'm leaving. Bye. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to go sit in traffic to get home. And I was like, I was very shocked. I kind of want to go back and get the little customer service survey and give them a positive review. I mean, I'm not going to tell GameStop that the employee didn't ask me to renew, didn't ask me for a gameplay guarantee, didn't ask me to take my cell phone, but I was like, that was awful nice of her. I'm willing to go on and lie in that freaking customer service survey and say, that customer this employee did their job exceptionally. Not the way that you want them to do it, but they were exceptional to me. And I appreciate the fact that this associate, she was able to assess, this motherfucker don't want anything else. He just wants to get his game and get the fuck out of here. And lo and behold, I can't believe honestly, that's kind of how I was treating people when I was working at GameStop, and no doubt that was why I was probably fired, because he's not following the circle of life. He's actually being nice to customers. Oh no. You're being too considerate of your customers' time and trying to encourage them to come back by other means, by leaving them at peace and not trying to shove things down their throat. I was shocked and amazed. I could not believe a modern GameStop employee didn't try to, hit me with every single point. I'm sure if her district manager saw it, she would have been fired on the spot. But no, good for this unbeknownst person in case this gets back to GameStop. That person, good. See, right there, James Jam. They mentioned it. They try to train my old tablet. They quoted you $25. Yeah. That's just what they do. They were aggressive about it back when I was there in 2016, but apparently now that's just like that's their main focus right now, because that's where all the money is for them. Not in the video games. Oh no. I did notice while I was standing at the counter waiting, they had a big old folder of just all the Funko Pops that were coming out in the future. And I was like, I was waiting to hear that spiel, but no, didn't hear that spiel. But yeah, that store, it looked so, it was eerily vacant, because I've been there. The last time I went there as a Nintendo rep would probably easily be 2012. Now, so that was almost 8 years ago. The last time I had set foot in that store. I remember that store used to be a lot more filled with a lot more gondolas, so to speak. That is the technical term for those displays with all the wire racks. And that store, like, and when I walked in there, like, not very much. I took a quick perusal of the PS4 wall, and so I then got in line, and I was just like, the store is way too big for what they're doing. And I'm like, I'm shocked they haven't tried to get out of this lease, because that's a lot of what they're doing. But you know what? I had a positive GameStop experience. And down one. Last time I actually owned my iPhone versus renting, they paid the most, and in cash. Yeah, yeah. I know. I think all of us, like, we all rent our phones now. I know I'm renting this iPhone right there that's recording this show. It's like, I'm not gonna own this phone for another year and a half. Silly GameStop. Everyone's leasing to own these damn things. It's insane. Just to dovetail the last week's little long talk about the game industry. Things are wild out there. And it seems things are getting more and more tenuous for the old Gestapo. James right here, you got a little anecdote. Let me see. James, for those of you who are not on Facebook Live, James went in today to pick up an exclusive Funko because they called him on Saturday to pick it up ASAP. Yeah, the guy who called James didn't check the street date, and they proceeded to say, well, while here, check out the... Like, they couldn't sell it to him today. I'm sure it was out tomorrow or out Thursday. Oh, James, not sure if it was an honest mistake or a trap. I mean, why not both? You know what? It might... The way they're operating nowadays, the video... I've been watching this dude, Lancelot, on YouTube. The way they're operating, I have to think that it was a deliberate, hey... Tell him to come in. We can't sell them yet, but see if you can get them for more. Hey, because that's always been the mentality. No matter which time actually the first time I worked there wasn't too bad. 2000, 2001. That it wasn't too bad back then. If your store got 10 reservations in a week, you were like an all-star store. Now if you get 10 reservations in a week, you're fired. But the second time I worked there, and then definitely that third time I worked there, it was all about schemes and trying to trick people. And I feel like right now they're just evil right now. It seems evil. This video I watched where they were talking about all this HR stuff, and how like it's easier for them to fire the person complaining because it's usually a part-time employee than it is to fire the person who is causing the problem. Just because it's cheaper that way. Oh, get rid of the complainer. Oh, look, you didn't clock in when you showed up 5 minutes early. You're fired. Like, what? Because I have to say, back my second tour of duty, I was collecting scalps. I was getting people fired for real things, like stealing. And yeah, most of the time it was usually stealing. I was catching all the thieves. I even took a few lives, even after I left GameStop. I was assassinating some cheaters and thieves even after the fact. I'll have to remember that. I got to write down all these as I remember them. I have to write all these stories down to get them ready for my show. Hey, cat just showed up. I almost elbowed you in the butt, cat. So that's your GameStop anecdote for the week. It's like I don't plan on walking into a GameStop again anytime soon. But that's what I went into one this past Saturday and came out mentally unscathed, so to speak. So, I realize one more thing I want to talk about, especially right now, since we don't really talk too much about sports nowadays. I know we had that long episode where I talked about how I can't really care too much about sports anymore. It's hard for me to care about sports nowadays. I can't find the energy to invest into letting the ups and downs of a team affect my ups and downs. I have a wonderful wife and a wonderful son. I can't allow the Chargers losing a game to put me in a bad mood and take it out on them. That's ridiculous. But I am a casual observer now of the sports now, and I was always a big fan of Dodgers. Although I honestly have to say I think I'm a bigger fan of going there and eating the food. That was the highlight of me going to the games, shoving a whole bunch of garlic fries down my gullet, and a whole bunch of Dodger dogs. But this whole thing, I haven't talked about it at all on the podcast. But how the Houston Astros are a pack of terrible, terrible cheaters, bad humans for cheating. I know my old favorite sports radio host, Jim Rome, used to always say, "It's not if you're not cheating, you're not trying, and it's only cheating if you get caught." But you know what? That's a load of shit. My wife frequently likes to say, I am a Libra. I believe in justice. I often don't put too much stock into the astrological stuff, but in that one, yeah. I am a man of justice, as all the people who were fired at GameStop during my 10 years in there felt the wrath of. I am a man who believes in justice. And then, finding out that the Astros were doing an elaborate scheme against my poor Dodgers. I was giving a shit at that point when the Dodgers won the World Series in 2017. The boss I was working for at that point at the job I was working, he's a big old Dodger fan. We all got together. We watched that game 1 of the World Series at his house. He threw a whole party because it was the first time the Dodgers had been in the World Series since 1988. And to realize, I remember we hung a lot of that on poor Yu Darvish. I was like, oh man, he was terrible. To find out, oh no, the Astros were using technology and buzzers and other bullshit, trash cans. They know what pitches were coming. And if you're not a sports fan, it's like, if you know what pitch is coming, that takes your 20% success rate up significantly higher. Because baseball inherently is a game of failure. Like, when in baseball, if you're successful 30% of the time, you're an all-star. If you're successful like 35% of the time, you're a Hall of Famer. You're in a job where if you're successful at 35% of the time, you go to a normal job, you're normal anything else, you go to school, you're at a 35% success rate, you're out on your ass. Baseball is all about failure. It's all about 162 games. It's all mental, more physical. That's why I remember back in the 80s, there was a lot of fat baseball players. Remember old Cecil Fielder, big old fat man. He cranked out 50 home runs. He could use the centrifugal force of his ass to help drive the ball out of the park. John Kruk was another big fat man, was running people over with his lardiness. There were a lot of big guys. More recently, I think there was a guy they called Kung Fu Panda. I think it was Pablo Sandoval. He was a big man. Or Big Papi. He was another. He was a rotund man. He wasn't fat, so to speak, but he was a large man. And yeah, baseball is all about failure. It's all about it's all mental. Baseball. Have you ever watched the movie Major League? That's such a great example of like the monotony of baseball. You have to trick yourself. You have to Jedi mind trick yourself to get through the games. And what the hell? You know what? These guys got so bored. They're like, you know what? We can cheat. We set up an asshole with a camera over there. He lets us know what the pitcher's doing with his hands, because it's a 3. Okay, it's a split finger. It's a 1. It's a fastball. Get that information. Hey, we can win, because prior to this, the Astros sucked ass. They were losing 100 games a year. And I guess Jose Altuve's boy, you know what? You know what we can do, guys? We can cheat. What the fuck, man? That is disappointing. I mean, not even just as a Dodger fan, but it's incredibly disappointing just overall as a sports fan. Like, really? I mean, football fans, they decry the New England Patriots for their everyone outside of New England decries New England for trying to do something. They did something similar, Spygate, where they'd record the other team's practice. Like, okay, cool, we know what they're planning. We can plan around that and try to counter that. That way we're ready for them. Like all of a sudden, we're going to bust out this play they've never seen before. Like, how do they know? They intercepted what the hell? Oh, because they had an asshole filming everything you did. It's not cool. It gives you an ugly feeling. It's gross. It's not cool. And this comes from a man. I enjoy professional wrestling. I enjoy a predetermined sport, but you know what? That's entertainment. There's a difference. Like, oh, Dre, how can you like professional wrestling? The winner is predetermined. You know the winner's predetermined in all those Avengers movies, right? And all these TV shows. The winners are predetermined there too, so it's not just entertainment. But this is sports. This is supposed to be based on skill, not on who can cheat the best. It's terrible. So I bring this up now because the season is starting, and what happened is like almost none of these players were punished. They got caught. They got caught. And literally, the only people who were punished were the people who, like, the two of the people who were punished had nothing to do with it. The manager of the team, who apparently, I don't know if it was just willful ignorance, or just he just turned the other way, like, oh well, I don't know. All of a sudden, my boys can really, my boys can really hit the ball, and they know what the pitchers are doing, especially when we're at home. I'm like, oh wow, their home record's really good, their road record's terrible. Yeah, it's just the manager got fired who pleaded ignorance, and the general manager, the man who puts together the team, he was also fired. And then another manager, I guess a guy who was a player during the team, and he got a job he was a player with them, or he was a bench coach, one of the masterminds. He went on to Boston and allegedly might have done the same thing recently with Boston in the World Series. He was fired by Boston, and then this other guy, another player who was on there who became a manager, he hadn't even managed a game yet. He was he was supposed to manage the New York Mets, and they fired his ass too. So technically, only 4 of the people involved in this whole thing were punished, because I guess all the rest of them went in and tattled on themselves. They went to the commissioners. Oh yeah, we did this. This is how we did it. Sorry, we'll cooperate as long as you don't punish us. Which is like, that's just I understand in our justice system, there is some lenience if, okay, I'm guilty. You plead guilty as opposed to not guilty. All right, there's a decreased penalty. But if you plead guilty to a crime, you're still punished, at least somewhat. I know we can get into a long discussion about how class system, some, if you're rich enough, you don't get punished, blah, 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 O.J. Simpson, there's, the justice system isn't very just. But in this instance, these guys told on themselves, and they were promised any punishment. And I was just appalled. And then I guess these last 2 days, now they're like, oh, we don't want to see any retaliation. We don't want to see, like, the signs are being, like, I guess people showing up spring training with signs, like Houston Astors, like Daniel Wan just posted right there on Facebook. And they're like, no, the shame of being cheaters is punishment enough. No. These dudes should be out of the league. They should be kicked out of the league, out on their asses. They should be not allowed to even think about the word baseball for what they did. They tarnished the game. It's no better than professional wrestling now. It's like, especially after all the NBA referee cheating scandal from a few years ago. It's like, oh, now everyone just assumes, hey, that referee's in the pocket of someone. Or even after the Patriots, now we just assume whenever they're doing well, they're doing something. They're suddenly good again. Oh, they have to be cheating in some way, shape, or form. It's like now there's this cloud. It's like, yeah, thank you, Daniel Wan. Thank you for reminding me of that point. See, Pete Rose got a lifetime ban for gambling on baseball. He was betting on his own team. He'd bet on his own team to win. But it's like, he can't even get near a baseball field unless he's personally invited, or some way, shape, or form. He's never going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think ultimately it's going to be up to the baseball writers, like any of these players who would have been Hall of Fame worthy, be it a Jose Altuve or a Justin Verlander, are now going to be like, maybe they'll never get into the Hall of Fame. They'll be put in the same category as a Barry Bonds or a Pete Rose, where they're like, you know what? Baseball didn't punish you, but all these petty ass writers will. I think that's the only penalty. Most of these guys are not going to be Hall of Fame worthy, but I think that's like the only punishment that can even be levied on these, other than the mass amounts of boos they're going to receive. And yeah, the gall of these guys are like, oh well, the Dodgers are talking a lot of shit because they're never going to have to see us. Dodgers won't have to see them this year. And because a lot of the Dodger players have been coming out like, no, this was fucked up. I mean, like, they're not asking for that 2017 title. Like, apparently the city of Los Angeles, like, tried to sue baseball. Like, that 2017 trophy should be over here in Los Angeles now. And then the commissioner's like, oh, no, we can't undo the games. You know, there's no guarantee that the Astros would have lost if they weren't cheating. I'm like, isn't that the point of cheating? To guarantee that you don't lose? It just further makes me feel better that I don't really give a shit about sports nowadays. I am a casual observer at best now. I watched some of the XFL and I was amused at the poor quality of play this past weekend. That's just more like I'm watching that more because I'm a wrestling fan. I just want to laugh at the fact that this failure from 20 years ago has been resurrected purely out of the spite of Vince McMahon's pride. And I watched the Lakers versus the Celtics. That was like yesterday? That was yesterday morning, I think. You see that this past weekend, the concept of time has just been lost. I think that was yesterday. I'm not sure if that was yesterday, if that was Sunday or Saturday. I don't remember. I couldn't tell you if it was yesterday. Was that Laker game yesterday, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, I know your brain is a little bit more together, even though I technically have more sleep. But my brain is all over the place, clearly. Yeah, I'm happy to just blissfully watch sports as a casual observer now, much like the majority of the free world now. It's just like, no, I am not the hardcore fan as I once was, and it's stuff like this that makes it easier for me to just be like, no, I can't care anymore. I'm annoyed at this whole cheat. I'm more annoyed at the commissioner than I am at all this other stuff. And it's like, good. I get even more reason for me not to turn on the television for baseball. It's like, and it's funny because like a lot of these sports are like wondering why, attendance is down and TV ratings are down. It's like they shoot themselves in the foot. There's this arrogance, and it's across all, and I'm noticing it's across all entertainment mediums. It's not just sports. I've noticed this in movies. I'm noticing this in video games. There is this arrogance of like, everyone's just gonna show up. All we have to do is put out a mediocre product, and people will be there, and it doesn't matter. And you know what? Quality matters. Integrity matters. It may seem like those things don't matter in the grand scheme of things, but at the end of the day, they really should. And I hope that all these arrogant people, so down the line, over time, you're gonna see the profits go down. It's like people complaining about the NFL, and the NFL is experiencing a ratings decline and an attendance decline. But as long as these networks are willing to shell out the billions of dollars to broadcast these things, so they can charge beer companies and food companies millions of dollars to air their ads, I mean, maybe it's not as easy as it is to take down the system. But hold on, let me remove this soapbox here and get down from it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We're here every week, every Monday night. I broadcast here sometime in the 8 p.m. hour Pacific time. I see my son over there. Hi, son. Daddy's doing a podcast right now. I love you, boy. I love you, Mama Bear. I love you, Baby Bear. I love my little family. My family is awesome. We're here every Monday night. You can follow me on social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at DreGP Podcast. You type that in and you'll find us on all your social medias like that. You can also catch us on YouTube. All of our episodes are posted during the week at some point when I take my laptop to work and use the work Wi-Fi. I take this video from YouTube and I take this video from Facebook and plaster it onto YouTube, along with all the other little shows I've been doing. Right now we have Dre's Retro Game Minute. A few weeks ago I was doing a Deal Tavern TV. I was helping my bosses out doing a little Deal Tavern promotion. Hey, Deal Tavern. You search for that on eBay or on Amazon, and you can find some great video game deals. And I may or may not be the one pulling them and pulling those games off of shelves and making sure they get into your grubby little hands. Check that out. Now, YouTube, just search for Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. You'll see a whole bunch of fun videos in regards to nerddom and a lot of gaming. As always, check out my Etsy store. And check out my wife's Etsy store, even though it's on your store's on hiatus now, right? My store's on hiatus. Always check out my store, Dre's Geek Philosophy. Buy some stuff. Help me out. I'm a dad. All this stuff is not cheap. I'm sure you dads all know, like, all the amount of money has to go into raising a child. Good Lord. I'm making decent money right now as a account manager and sales manager, but I can always use a little extra to help pay the bills. Gotta feed the baby, gotta feed the mama, and at some point, maybe feed myself. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys next week, or I might see you guys on Instagram. I might see you guys on Twitter. Catch me there. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Have a good night.